Good afternoon, this is the Archetype reading for the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn, let's start right away with your reading. And the first card that came up and is read is relating to the underworld. The underworld card for you is called the Self. The Self relates to the soul, the witness, and also the watcher. The Self is the prism that allows the spectrum of our personality to radiate. The Self does not judge what prohibits, suppresses, or oppresses any of its parts, as it lovingly knows that all aspects have a time and a place. The Self is the awareness of the infinite universe of possibilities. When this card appears, it is a call to step back, to witness consciously, so to observe yourself navigating through the world. Ask yourself, am I the stew or am I the chef? In most situations, our ego draws us into the cauldron where we smolder in chaos. Yet the Self is a graceful culinary dancer, watching, waiting, and observing how all the ingredients become the flavor of our life. Look into the mirror, Capricorn, and see the you behind the you. If this card is perplexing to you, you are on the right track. We are challenged to expand our sense of identity beyond the little self, and the ego resists such movement. It's no surprise that two central mantras in the yoga tradition relate to the Self. Experience with Soham, I am that, or he is I, the Vedantic mantra, and Satnam, I am truth, or truth is my essence. When this card's meaning is light, it relates to witnessing, accepting, and new aspects of the Self. When this card's meaning is dark, it relates to disjointed, fatigued, diffused energy and purpose. To go deeper, read Robert Bly and Kabir's poem, This Clay Jug. Next card for you, Capricorn, is the card relating to your past, and this card is called the Ring. The ring relates to the infinite, the wheel, and also the connection. The ring is an image of connectedness. Rather than viewing life as linear, as a series of progressive achievements, the ring challenges us to sense the cyclical, infinite nature of our world and our experiences. Beginnings and endings, they fall by the wayside as we practice seeing ourselves as part of the cosmic circularity of creation. For this reason, it's no surprise that a ring is worn on the finger to represent eternal love that surpasses space, time, and worldly things. So much can be projected onto this archetypal image because it mimics the Earth's orbit around our great sun and the intimate bond between two lovers. It is the micro and the macro united. This card calls us to deepen connections with ourselves, others, and the world at large. Meanwhile, there may be a literal ring waiting to adorn your finger. Take stock of the jewels you adorn yourself with, says the card, and watch out for rings you wear out of habit that keep you connected to the old you. Study images of the mandala, the unus mundus, the Ouroboros, and the medicine wheel. Unus mundus is an underlying concept of Western philosophy, theology, and alchemy, of the primordial unified reality from which everything derives. And Ouroboros is a snake symbol swallowing its tail. When the card's meaning is light, it relates to connectedness, humility, sacred cycles. When the card's meaning is dark, it relates to unconscious repetition, starving for connection, and paying too much attention to the self. To go deeper, read the German poet Rilke, I live my life in widening circles. Now we come to the Heaven card, this one here. The Heaven card is called the womb. The womb is the nest, the belly, and the origin. Everything has an original story, says this card. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning, the mother beyond the mother. In a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles, this card returns us to the warmth, the tenderness, and the sacred intelligence from which we came. It is a card of receiving, not achieving, and of accepting love from the mother of us all. She is the life-giving force that forgives and cherishes even the most wounded and disparate soul. No matter how lost you are, the womb awaits your return to help you to heal and to grow. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return, to be reborn in the name of love, and so the womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender and beyond time. We are within the womb as the womb is within us. Consider that Mother Earth must also have a mother. Imagine her, says the card. And ask yourself, Capricorn, what would honoring the feminine look like to you? Where would you begin? Imagine yourself as loved. That's a good place to start. When the card's meaning is light, it relates to nourishment, harmony, warmth, and love. When the card's meaning is dark, it relates to stricken, ecological crisis, infertility, and imbalance. To go deeper, contemplate Gustave Courbet's The Origin of the World, also called the Scandalous Painting. So find out about this scandalous painting and see why it is called scandalous. Okay? Next card that came up for you, Capricorn, is the card relating to your future, and your future is called the forest. The forest is related to the woods, and the jungle. When you recall your earliest memory of the forest, you might recall some fear of losing your way in the dark forest. You may recall enchantment and perhaps discovering a secret mystical treasure. Such is the magic of the forest. First, you must enter the forest and then you must get lost within it. You might have hoped for a path to lead you straight through, but then you had to discover you were on a pathless path. There are tricksters in the forest. There is dense foliage and many entanglements. But each forest has also some fairies and friends among the trees. When you are in the forest, you are on an adventure, and there is no turning back. So embrace the dim light and the moving shadows. Be brave in the forest and get lost in getting found. When this card's meaning is light, it relates to magic, abundance, childlike wonder, and adventure. When this card's meaning is dark, it relates to concealment, density, and savagery. To go deeper, the opening three lines of Dante's Inferno. Contemplate on the opening three lines of Dante's Inferno. So Capricorn, last card from your reading here is this one. It relates to the self and is called the castle. The castle is also the palace, the penthouse, and the fortress. It's no wonder that in fairy tales we hear of sleeping princesses within castle walls. Like most archetypes, the castle is loaded with duality. It represents abundant riches, seductive fantasy, ornate wonders, and lavish adornments. Yet the walls are thick and cold. This card points to a tendency to hold on to possessions, quite possibly a literal home or a position that projects the image of achievement, while the soul longs to run barefoot in the forest, leaving it all behind. Who has not at times felt that way, is the card asking. At times we must settle down while the castle puts a spell of materialism on us and lures us right back in the old ways. The castle can be a motivating force, an enchanting goal to travel toward, but it is best not to linger within its walls of decadent deception for too long. Notice how castles are designed to keep things out. They defend, they separate. Once you go beyond the castle's walls, you might be revitalized by something or someone. If this card appears with the king, the queen, or the maiden, know that you entered into long-standing family dynamics that include property and power. But there are no such cards, so let's move on. When the card's meaning is light, it relates to visiting your throne of power. When the card's meaning is dark, it relates to stuckness, depression, spells, and walls. To go deeper, see the sculpture House from Rachel Whitehead and the painting The Tower of Babel by Peter Bruegel. So, Capricorn, that was your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. And I thank you very much for listening. And I hope to see you back next time when I again read for the sign of Capricorn. Have a nice afternoon and goodbye.